Welcome, everyone. Today, I am honored to have with me Dr. Stan Harris, aka Dr. Breakthrough. And as you guys know, everything we do on this show is to help you build your network and affiliate marketing businesses. So, Dr. Breakthrough, why doctor and why breakthrough?
Well, first of all, it's a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure to be here with you. And let me just say up front, thank you for what you do to make a difference in the world. Each of us have our different things that we do. And I just love being connected with people like you that are bringing value to the marketplace and empowering people. And so, anyway, but yeah, so people call me Dr. Breakthrough, and I was going to say, I can't provide a breakthrough. I just prescribe the breakthrough. But when people follow the breakthrough prescription, God provides the breakthrough they desire and deserve. And by the way, I needed more breakthroughs than anybody else I needed. So, but 20 something years ago, 25 years ago, I was speaking at Howard University. A guy named Willie Jolly, who's a top speaker now with NASA, National Speakers Association. And that's before he was Dr. Willie Jolly. But anyway, he's like, Dr. Stan, I know. He said, man, look, I know you got a doctorate in divinity, a PhD in martial arts. You're a few credits away from doctor of naturopath. He said, but branding's everything. He said, man, when I see you speak, man, and you break down breakthrough better than anybody that I know. He said, you break those boards and bricks with things like fear and procrastination on them, demonstrating that although things are hard, we can break through. He said, then you teach the audience how to break stuff and you break. He said, man, he said, you're like a doctor. Somebody goes to a doctor and the doctor writes out a prescription and it helps them to get better. He said, you're the guy that when they need a breakthrough, you're the guy with the prescription. You should be called Dr. Breakthrough. That should be your branding. I was like, man, I appreciate your kind words. I don't think that's true, but I promise you, I'll live the rest of my life to make sure it is. And it stuck.
Oh, cool. That's cool. So tell us a bit about your background in this world of network and affiliate marketing.
Well, believe it or not, I'm a minister of the gospel and I would
Mhm.
preach against home-based business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because somebody that was older and wiser than me was against it. I didn't know why they was against it, but like to say down south, if he against it, I'm against it, right? So I
Isn't
grew up
that
without a
fascinating,
father.
though?
Yeah, I grew up
Isn't
without
that
a father,
fascinating?
and so I didn't have a
Yeah.
strong role model. And so my pastor was a strong personality. And so I don't know why, but he was against it. So I mean, I was hard. I mean, I was like, because people would always say, "Man, what your energy?" What? No, no. Let me back up. They're like, "Hey, can I take you out to dinner?" And I'm like, sure, right? And so our lunch, yeah, sure. And they get me out there like, man, with your energy and the influence you have, you would be, they start drawing the circles. I'm like, oh, no, 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 stop, stop, stop. And so then it got to the point when people would invite me out. I'm like, wait a minute, you're not drawing circles or nothing, are you? Because, and so,
Yep.
and in my mind, it was kind of like I had this bullseye on my back and everybody was after me because of my energy level and whatever. And unlike like what you just did, you said, "Hey, this show is about you, to your audience." Well, I was picking up a vibe. It was about them, and it was like, "Man, he's a good cat. We can get him right." And so one day though, um, I'm reading through scripture, and I'm like, seemed like Jesus reached the world, sent them out two by two. Seemed like he is like the greatest networker, like
Yeah.
like he
Right.
yeah, and then back then, by the way, and we can talk about it another time, but I used to travel 320 days a year, and as an evangelist. So I thought I was going to save the world overnight by myself. It didn't work. I grew up hearing black men were lazy. I heard preachers are lazy. I'm like, well, I'm black and I'm a preacher, so I got to I got to really prove. So it led me to do things I was out of balance, right?
Right.
And so I had a big old motorhome. I would take my family with me. So I would tell my wife, we can't let our home get messed up like others. So I drug her everywhere, burnt her out. But finally, I collapsed out of exhaustion. I was living off about 3 hours sleep a night, did that for almost 18 years. The same pastor was so out of balance, he would say, now, of course, he's in the 60s. I had had a vacation in 18 years. So I'm thinking, well, I don't need a vacation. So I didn't take a vacation. Anyway, I take a vacation all the time now, but I'm saying, so I collapsed out of exhaustion, woke up, didn't know where I was, if I was. Now think about this. The week before, I'm putting my hand through 22 inches of blocks on fire and then would preach. And now here it is. I can't even get up out of bed by myself. The week before, I'm laying on a razor sharp bed of nails. They put 150-pound of bricks on my stomach when I lay on those nails. They take a 20-pound sledgehammer, break the bricks off my stomach while I lay on the nails, and I jump up, and they're like, anything you say, preacher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now here's the next week, I can't even go to the bathroom by myself. Make a long story short, this lady in our church is doctor in our church said, look, he got them to agree that he could work on me at home. He said, this guy he just burnt out. He just needs to rest. He just needs to recuperate. I burnt out my adrenal glands. And so I tell people sometimes you can't just always push through stuff. You got to stop but anyway, so the lady in our church bought some stuff, this green product. And literally, I was hallucinating back then. I'd never done drugs a day in my life, but some of my brothers had. And what they told me, I was like, man, it's like I'm hallucinating. It was scary. I was suicidal. I mean, it was crazy.
Wow.
And this lady came by to visit and gave me this green stuff, this green powder stuff. I started taking it, and it was like my brain started working again. It's like, and slowly but surely, I started getting my strength back. And all of a sudden, my brother-in-law at the time was a pastor of the church. And when I was able to go back to church, he was like, man, he's like, you're like the strongest guy I ever saw. And you're like this almost walking dead man. And now you're looking like 10 years younger. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, man, this is stuff I'm taking. But now I don't sell it or nothing. I don't, so I went back to the lady. And so she's like, okay, well, I said, I don't want to sell it. She said, okay, I'll tell you what, I kept buying it. And she said, you can save money. She's like, and if you don't want the money, give it to the church, but don't just, just get it wholesale. And I said, well, this pastor wants it. Okay, just tell him to call the number and give them your ID number. They'll give them a discount, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I did that. It worked for him. Well, he's got a wife and 6 kids, so a whole family got out. Then the church said, Pastor, what are you doing? And he said, well, go talk to Dr. Stan. Well, that's before I was Dr. Breakthrough. Talk to Dr. Stan, and so they started taking it. And then I get a check for about $1,000. And I called the company like, hey, y'all messed up. I don't do network marketing and stuff with it. They said, no, no, no. They said, we don't do based on recruiting only. We do based on volume. I said, wait a minute. This stuff changed my life. And then it's changed the life of a bunch of my family and friends. And you pay me for that? I was like, what I got to do to get another check? I was hooked ever since. So like in the Bible, Saul that was killing Christians became Paul willing to die. And that was me, right? And so
Right. Yeah.
I got fired up. And unfortunately, I didn't have the struggles like most people had. I went to the top of just about every company I was part of. Matter of fact, I've been the number one income earner, number one recruiter in 7 different companies. And believe it or not, at one time, I was the number one recruiter and number one income earner in 3 companies simultaneously back when you wasn't supposed to be able to do any of this stuff, right? But I didn't
Yeah.
have any of those barriers. But again, I had an advantage because I came so strong against it. When they saw me, they was like, wait a minute, this guy is so strong integrity. If he's for it, it's got to be good, right? And then
Right.
because of martial arts, they taught me if while you practice, you don't want to quit, you haven't really practiced, meaning when your body wants to give in, your will has to say, no, you do what I say. We would say we forge our bodies on the fires of our will. So I was taught when something gets rough, that means you're doing it right, right? So I didn't go through the discouragement like a lot of other people in the company. I was like, well, y'all discouraged you should be encouraged, man. You're doing it right now. I mean, so I went to the top of the companies for several reasons. One, I was already developed, right? I was very self-disciplined. Also,
Yep.
I was a leader. I was a leader in the martial arts. I was also a leader in the church. All of my friends were top leaders, right? And
Right.
so, like other people that, they talk to what I call in my book, How to Build a Big Team Fast. I talk about you got leaders, you got followers, you got leaders, you got leader of leaders, and you got leader of leader of leaders. Well, all my friends were leaders, leader of leaders, or leader of leaders, right? And
Yeah.
so when I would get them, most of their following would come. And so these people, and back then they would always tell people, don't talk to preachers, they're too busy, right? This, way back in the and I
Yeah.
was my only friends are preachers and martial artists, and but anyway, so the I would talk to the sensei or the master of this class, and he would join, and all the students would join, and so it was like, and they were like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, I was breaking records like crazy, and then people started, I said, well, y'all really want me to tell you because I do what you say don't do, and I said I talk to pastors and evangelists because those are all my friends.
Right.
And then I talked to martial artists, but I didn't understand the philosophy of what was happening. So again, I didn't go through a lot of the hard times other people did, although the struggles to me wasn't a struggle. It was get excited, you're doing something right. And that
Yeah.
principle, by the way, has helped. I've been able to teach and help a lot of other people. So that's the long story. I didn't mean to go that long.
But you know what? I want to go back to something you said, like right at the very beginning, because I think it is so, so, so important. You listened to your pastor, who actually wasn't giving you the best advice. He was
Right.
giving you the best advice he thought. I mean,
From
I'm
his perspective.
right.
It was a
He
wrong.
wasn't.
Oh, by the way, before it was over, I recruited him in one of my businesses.
Love it. But I think so often we listen to people that aren't like,
Come on.
all the friends and family members who say, no, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy, um,
Right.
which I have many of those. I don't have any friends and family members who are with me in the business. I don't even try anymore. I don't talk to friends
Wow.
and family members. So, but it's so interesting who we listen to, that little, voice that we listen
Yes.
to. So pay attention to who you're listening to, right?
Come
Because
on
it's
now.
not always
Can,
right. In fact, lots of times it's not.
can I give your listeners $1 million piece of advice?
Absolutely.
Okay, folks, get something to write with, something to write on. About to give you what I call Dr. Breakthroughism. Okay, save you a lot of money. Never receive constructive criticism from someone who's never constructed what you would like to build. Oh, did they get that one? Let me say it again. Can I slow down? Never accept or stop accepting constructive criticism from someone who's never constructed what you would like to build. Now, I built a team of 1.5 million, okay, in a home-based business. Listen carefully. I'm a grandmaster in the martial arts. I'm this 10th degree black belt. And out of 8.2 billion people, there's less than 100 of us that have made it. So if you're interested in taking martial arts, you probably ought to listen to you would probably ask me, not your mom or your
Not
friend or
me.
your sister, right?
Not me.
Yeah. And if you're going to get involved in one of those things, talk to a guy who used to preach against it when in my ignorance, right? Who then got my eyes open and now, became one of the top guys in the industry. So ask somebody who's building. So here's what happens. And we, Gloria, it's because we're good people and we don't want to make mistakes. So what we do is we respect our sister who's an attorney, our brother who's a doctor. Now, if it got something to do with law, ask your sister. Got something to do with the medical, ask them. But when it comes something to do with a home-based business, if they've never built a home-based business, don't ask them. Or if they've never been successful in a home-based business, don't ask them. So a lot of times, Gloria, you're right. What you just said would save a lot of people, because what happens is they ask and they have these aspirations. They're excited. And then the brother doesn't mean to, but they say, oh, I wouldn't do that. Okay, well then he won't do it, but okay, fine. But ask me, ask Gloria. Don't ask somebody who hasn't built something. So I'm telling you, here's the thing: people don't listen to the ones they should listen to, and they listen to the ones they shouldn't listen to.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so interesting, isn't it? Because a pastor of all people, you know, who's out there working to
Loving
save
people,
people's
caring,
lives, loving people, helping people. So I mean,
but
yeah.
he had wrong information. But listen
Yeah.
to this: the wrong information he gave me that I believed in was authenticated by some wrong acting people. You
Oh
see what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Well, we can find authentication for anything we want, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Once we believe it, right? And by the way, I usually, when I speak to live audiences, I write on the board beliefs, BELIEFS. Matter of fact, man, could your audience, can we have fun real quick? Somebody, if y'all grab something to write on real quick, let's have fun. And Gloria, can you grab something to write on real quick? Because I'm going to
Absolutely. I
demonstrate this.
got it
We'll have
right
some
here.
fun.
Yep.
I want you to grab a piece of paper, and I don't have anything close to me, but write the word beliefs, BELIEFS. Okay, write the word beliefs. Now, right in the middle word beliefs, there's a 3-letter word. What is that word, Gloria? Can you see it? BELIEFS.
Lie.
Lie. So get this. What happens is a lot of our beliefs are based on a lie. So whenever your belief or belief, come on, is based on a lie, you now live a very limiting lifestyle, very limiting life. And so on a board, I usually write limiting beliefs, right? And I show it in the word lie. And I tell people most of my life I was living based on limiting beliefs. And again, it's what we don't understand is if you come up in a great empowering environment, then you got a great upbringing. If not, and most of us, our belief system is developed before we're old enough and have enough cognitive thinking skills. So we embrace. See, that's why B.F. Skinner years ago, a great psychologist, said, and I'm going to show you where he is wrong, but he said, we're a product of our environment. And that's what I was until I decided to become a product of my empowerment. Oh, Oh, come on now. They didn't hear that one. So again, because if you don't know any better, you're just a product of your environment. But I realized, no, that's a lie. I can now be a product of my empowerment or a product of the environment of my mind. And I had to switch what was in my mind. And when I put more, so again, when there's lies you believe in, right? If you think, well, I'm just a black man, a white man's world, I'm just a woman in a man's world, I'm not educated enough, I'm not strong enough, I'm not healthy enough, I'm not this, I'm not that. And we keep doing all this stuff to ourselves. And those are lies. And usually, my friend, I tell people, it's not what you think, excuse me, it's not, excuse me, it's what you think that keeps you from being happy or unsuccessful. So it's not what you don't have, it's only what you think. See, here's what happens. You think you got to have all these degrees, like the world has told you got to be successful. And yet most of the richest people in the world quit college to go and become some of the richest men and women in the world, right?
Yeah.
So it's not what you don't have, it's only what you think you need. And if you think you need something that's based on a lie, you now are boxing yourself in. Just like I believed the lie that this network home-based business stuff was wrong, and you making money off your friends and you doing all this kind of stuff. By the way, who else you want to get paid? You want strangers to get paid? Like, but anyway,
Yeah,
and so
right.
anyway, but I hope y'all get this. It's not what you don't have. It's only what you think you need. And if your thoughts are based on lies, like I tell some people, most of the now I've got doctor's degrees, but most of the educational system, sad to say, is based on how well you can regurgitate things back
Yes.
to what you're taught. So if what you were taught was wrong, sad to say, you now have a degree in error,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what changed my life also with this home-based business arena, because I kept, I'm the guy I never dreamed I'd ever make it out of school and end up, graduating top of my class and going off to college, who's who, and then became a college professor. And I mean, I was one of those guys who would stand up in front of a room and totally promulgate my esoteric cogitations and articulate my superficial sentimentalities with amicable and philosophical psychological observations and beware platitudinous ponderosities. And I would let my extemporaneous verbal evaporations demonstrate a clarified conciseness, no previous gerundity, or bafflement. And according to Reader's Digest, that simply means say what you mean without using big words. Right? But I thought it was educated. I got mad at my education when I started making more money in a month than I used to make an entire year as a college professor. Are y'all hearing me?
Yeah.
So for the last 30 something years, I've been psychologically unemployable. And I'm not against people with jobs. By the way, I think it's honorable. Blessed is the man or woman that does what they have to do until they can position themselves to do what they want to do, right? And learn the power of leverage. But I got to stop. I'm getting
And let's be real, there's some people out there that love their jobs, and that's great because we need those people, right? Look, if everybody in the whole wide world were a network marketer, that wouldn't work very well for us, right?
Well, I teach a concept called paid internship. Matter of fact, when I preach in churches, I shock them. I like, anybody got a job, they raise their hand and say, okay, I want you to quit. Now, wait a minute. I want you to go in Monday morning, but it's no longer going to be a job. It's going to be a paid internship. You say, what's the difference? The job is, it's been termed, you jump out of bed, get on the journey of the broke, and usually 45 years later, you end up just over broke. But a paid internship is now you go to the same place with a different attitude. And again, if you love what you do, that's different. But now a paid internship means I'm going to allow these people to pay me to learn things, to practice things that one day I would utilize in my own business. See, in the Bible days, there's only two kind of people had jobs, soldiers and slaves. Everybody else had a business and they would collaborate. So now all of a sudden we got jobs, but used to, we would just collaborate with somebody that did the thing we needed done, right? That was their business. We paid them. They utilized our services and we would collaborate. And I think we need to get back to that. Although some people, like you said, well, their mindset, they'll never get there. And that's a whole big thing too. For those you trying to recruit people, understand this. Please understand, some people there's a big difference between employee versus entrepreneur mindset. Employee mindset, there's something risk versus reward. And employees focus so much on the risk, they lose sight of the reward. So when you're talking all these numbers and what they could do and how it could, it's like you're talking Spanish to somebody that only understands English, right? And so listen, but the entrepreneur mindset, we're so focused on the rewards, we're willing to deal with the risk. But there are a few business models that have no risk and it's all reward. That's what's super crazy. And everybody's uncle, cousin, Pookie and them and everybody else ought to be part of that.
Well, I agree with you completely. However, our little mini minds still try to take us out, right? Even though there's no risk, there's no investment. Basically, everybody can either save money or make money, right? Everybody. There's still the risk of rejection, which I think, I mean, I started network marketing over 45 years ago in Amway, and
So you were drawing those circles.
oh, I was drawing those circles. You had the secret, you invited your friends over for dinner and you didn't tell them why they're coming over for dinner, and you whipped out the flip chart at the end of dinner and you drew circles. 5, who get 5, who get 5, who get 5. But I think that our little mini minds take us out all the time because
Self-sabotage.
we are so afraid of rejection. So even though you have absolutely nothing to lose, no money to lose, none, you're either going to make money or save money or do both, right?
Right.
There's still the, but what if Betty Sue thinks I'm a loser or doesn't like me or says no, right? And we let that just absolutely crush us. So
You're
how do
spot
you
on.
get over that?
Well, the Amway way, by the way, I love what Amway stood for, by the way. A lot of people didn't make money, but the thing
No,
is, they
I was one
loved
of
it.
those that never made any money, just for the
Okay.
record.
But here's the thing, they loved it because of personal development and the good emotional feeling of being in these meetings, listening to the cassettes or the CDs or whatever else,
Oh,
and the
no, we didn't
personal
have CDs
development.
back then.
Oh, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But the cassettes and the personal development and the growth and so forth, and they start associating that because all of us need community, and all of us see one of our greatest desires is to connect with someone, or a group of someone's who can empower us to be, do, and have what we secretly know we can become and achieve. But here's the problem, Gloria. Most people would rather deal with a problem that they're familiar with than a solution that they're not familiar with. That's why those of us who are presenters, those of us who are involved, you got to be persistently patient and only promote the benefits. So again, most people, again, that you've heard it said, and I talk about in my book, Your Breakthrough is Guaranteed, and then also How to Build a Big Team Fast. But most people's favorite radio station, WIIFM, what's in it for me? Well, as a presenter, as a person who wants to share, your favorite radio station has to be WIIFT, what's in it for them. So one of the companies I was a top income earner, and matter of fact, that's the first time I met Jim Rohn. They had me and Jim Rohn speak at the convention. I was just a new guy, but I'd broken the company record, and they're like, "This guy speaks." Listen, I'm speaking. So I was like, "He gonna be speaking with Jim Rohn." I'm like, I don't know who this is, but and I was like, "Whoa, Jim Rohn, this guy was amazing, right?" And but they recorded take of my speech, and they would play it whenever you do an order with the company. You would hear part of my speech. Well, anyway, the owner, we would travel around the corporate jet, and he had written this book called Guaranteed Prospects, How to Have Guaranteed Prospects. And he said, now everybody in this room needs to buy my book except for our next speaker. He said, this guy, he could sell ice to an Eskimo. I mean, the guy can recruit people at will. And so he said, we call him, as Dr. Stan Harris, we call him Dr. Breakthrough. Well, I got up to speak. I said, look, thank you very much, Mr. Jackson. Appreciate your kind words. Although I don't know if Eskimos need ice, but if they're going to buy it, I want them to get it from me. And I said, I can't really recruit people at will, but here's what I can do. I listen real well and I watch real well. And when I hear people talk about their struggles and their problems, and I hear them, and I see them in their struggles, I simply present my business, quote unquote, opportunity in light of its problem solving capabilities. So I'm not really a salesperson, recruiter per se. I'm just a problem solver and a solution provider. However, when I help solve problems and provide a solution, I get paid, and I deserve, Danish word deserve, D means from, serve means service, from service. Now, one more thing I want you on your piece of paper. Those of you out there, I used to be a college professor. I got to get some homework, but we're going to do it right now. And I'm a martial artist. So guess what? We didn't go to martial arts lectures. We went to martial arts practice, which means they told us what to do. They showed us, and we had to do it. So grab something to write on, and I want you to write the word service. Okay. Now you had beliefs before. Now write the word service. SERVICE. By the way, this is all in my book, How to Build a Big Team Fast. Now, Gloria, the word service with the letter S, put 2 vertical lines through the S. And all the listeners out there, please do this. Unless you're driving, don't do it. Okay, 2 vertical lines through the S, 1 vertical line down through the C. And now you'll see that service is the dollar and cents of everything that we do. So we don't do things at the expense of people. We do things at the service of people. But when we serve people properly, then we get paid, and we deserve D from serve, Danish service from service. When you provide service, you deserve to get paid. Quick illustration. Bill Bailey was my main mentor. He mentored actually Jim Rohn in the early days, and got connected with him later. I was speaking somewhere. So I said, you the young Bill Bailey. I'm like, Bill Bailey. So he had a company grossing $64 million a month. I'm like, what? Does he have a coaching program? I was like, does he? And so, and I was one of the keynote speakers at that event, but I'm like, man, somebody, I ain't done 64 million even in a year yet. But anyway, so I said, okay. So I was going through his coaching thing, and we had this private session with him. And I said, Mr. Bailey, I got to ask you, what did you do to make $64 million a month? He said, young Dr. Breakthrough, you're asking me the wrong question. I said, okay, what's the right question I should have asked? See, I'm not going to let my ego get in the way, EGO, edging God out, edging growth out, edging guidance out. No. Okay, what's the right question? I didn't say, man, I'm Dr. Breakthrough. Does he know who he's talking to? Like, look, what's the right question? He said, you should have asked me how many people's lives I added value to that resulted in $64 million a month. He said, young Dr. Breakthrough, if you master bringing value to the marketplace, you can't help but eventually receive value back from the marketplace. That changed I was like, whoa, that's it. I'm going to beat everybody else out in bringing value to the marketplace. Matter of fact, like I did a Facebook Live every Monday. I do one on, I call it TGIM times 7. And it stands for Thank God It's a Marvelous Manifesting Motivational Mindset Marketing Money Making Monday. And I just pour out and give great value. And there's people that end up listening to that, and they'll inbox me, man, do you work with a company or something? Or is there something I don't even talk about some of the companies I represent or work with, right? And primarily I'm a generic trainer or whatever, but there's several companies I still work with because, again, it's, I'm not dumb. I like my life being changed. I like not just to speak, but I like also to get the residuals coming in. But anyway, but I'm saying
Absolutely.
this to say that everybody out there, and this is Gloria, this is what I love, again, what you're doing. You are bringing the different guests that you have. You are bringing such immense value to the marketplace, and we need more people like you that have that heart. So I always tell people, it shouldn't be about the money. It should be about the mission. However, when you fulfill the mission, you can't help but make a lot of money.
Absolutely. I have found in my many, many years now, my 45 plus years in network marketing, the more, and people think they just don't believe it, but the more you give away, you
Come
just
on.
give it away for free. You give it away. The more you give away, the more you get back. And people are so afraid to give away their secrets or, their tools and tips or whatever. But no, the more you give without charging a dime. And there is nothing wrong. You and I both agree 1000%. There is nothing wrong with making money. And there's nothing wrong with making a very nice amount of money, a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And when you truly come from your heart and give, the more you give away, the more you get. Without the intention of, oh, if I give, I'll get, right? It just
Right.
comes, it flows, it comes from places you would never imagine that it would come from. It just
Yeah.
flows back to you.
Yes, ma'am. You're exactly right. And so, like, I have a lot of even stuff on Facebook or YouTube. And they're like, man, this guy's giving this for free. And so they start thinking, well, if he's saying this for free, I want to take his paid training because it's got to be even better, right? So it
Yep.
works just the opposite. Some of these guys are like, well, I can't give out my secrets. Oh, no, I want to get some of my best stuff for free. And then people want to go further and have me take them by the hand and lead them into the breakthrough promised land, right? So they're like, man, if he is this good for free, I can't imagine buying. But let me give a word of precaution though. Sometimes because my ministerial background, I'm a great connector, right? And so I was always connecting people, but I wasn't making sure that I had ahead of time factored in that I could be blessed as well. And so I was helping this
Yeah.
party and this party be blessed, and I wasn't. And so I do a quick little training. Let me, if I throw this out, because it's going to touch somebody. Some of
Right.
you are like missionaries, and get nothing wrong with being a missionary, but see, a missionary usually goes somewhere and they work and they have to be supported because again, they're going to foreign island or whatever, and they're, you
Right.
know, so they have to be supported. Well, guess what? That's what happened to me in my early business days, right? I was like a missionary. I was doing all this, but I hadn't learned how to monetize what I was doing. Okay, there's a method to some of this though. So watch this. So what happens is you're a missionary, you keep giving, and eventually your wife's like, hey, are you going to get paid for this thing you're doing now, or is this another free thing? What you know? So now what happens? You get the place. Oh man, I got to feed my family some way. So now you go from being a missionary to a mercenary. So a
Yeah.
missionary does something out of the care of their heart, but they got to be supported. A mercenary just does it to make the money. It's like, so now you end up saying, I got to take this job. By the way, the greatest fear of an employee is to lose their job. The greatest fear of a true entrepreneur is to have to get a job again.
Yeah. Isn't that
But
true?
again, paid internship though, right? So go from missionary to having to be supported. Now mercenary. I got to make money, but when I'm done with you, I'm going to train you how to be mandatory. Hello, somebody. So you go from missionary, where again you're giving, but you haven't learned though how to monetize it. So then you have to become like a mercenary. Like I got to do something to make money, and you do that, and but then I want to show you how to go to a place where you're mandatory. People like, look, it's to a place now people like, man, if you want to break through, you got to get a hold of Dr. Breakthrough. You got to take his 21-day breakthrough challenge. You got to get his book, How to Build a Big Team Fast. You got to get his book, Your Breakthrough is Guaranteed. You become mandatory. But again, you start off, like you said, you got to have that heart. You know, I'll tell you this last quick story. I told my son, my youngest son, I said, man, you got to get married, bro. You're 33. Come on. Jesus was like at the end of his ministry at 30. He said, Dad, he said, I just women are different these days. And I said, man, you got to throw the Harris charm on them. And so my wife was listening. And by the way, I call my wife my ABCD, my adorable brown caramel delight. So I know I was in a little bit in trouble, not trouble, but she's like, when she says, baby, can, can we have a conversation? So she's very, very quiet, but every word is like a bull hitting the bullseye, right? She said, overheard you talking to Justin. She said, it wasn't your charm that got me. I said, was it? She said, no. I said, well, what was it? She said, it was your heart. She said, I discerned that you had such a pure, kind, giving heart that it won me over. So I had to call my son back. I said, son, make sure your heart is clean.
Yeah.
but but again, there's some people, like you said, even if you haven't, and again, I can teach folks about, but even that other stage, though, as long as your heart is right and pure, you still will start attracting people to you, and we'll show you how to, again, to be able to go and become mandatory. But I hope that helps somebody, because I know some of you.
Yes, you're absolutely right. And I agree with you again, 1000%. I always think it has to be a mutual blessing. It just has to be a mutual blessing, right?
Exactly.
So it's not about giving,
Right.
and being trumped all over, right?
Right.
It's
Exactly.
about giving and knowing that there's got to be a mutual blessing. Hey,
Well,
so
see, the scripture says, "Don't cast your pearl before swine." I was reading that one day. I
yes,
was like, "Lord, you calling people swine?" And so, no, no. The training there, the teaching is this: don't give something to someone that can't appreciate it or doesn't have the capacity to receive it and to do something with it, right?
right.
And so some of y'all, like for instance, they'll say in the home-based business, it's like kissing a frog and it turns into a prince. Some of y'all kiss that same frog, you got warts all over your lips and your whole face. It's not changing. Let it go. Find
Yeah.
somebody else. Some find something. You know what I mean? So you kind of got to have some wisdom about it. And again, the older we get, and again, the key is getting mentors. And Gloria, again, that's why you are mentoring and empowering so many people by what you're doing. It's just amazing, and I can't say enough good, because if more people had people like you that would have a good influence over them, they would be experiencing a whole lot more breakthroughs.
Yeah. So really quickly before we go, because we're running out of time here, I can't believe how fast this has gone by. Um, Tell us about your book, How to Build a Big Team Fast. Do I have the title correct?
Yes, yeah. So yes, ma'am. So my wife and I, by the way, we always say if it's not win-win-win, we're not in. But whenever it's a win-win-win, we're all the way in, right? And so I kept going to the top of these companies. People kept saying, "Man, how you do it? How you do it?" And so then companies started bringing me in to teach on it, and then people kept saying, "Do you have a book on it?" I'm like, "No, I'm too busy. I move too fast." But come on, do you have a book? Yeah. And so finally, I said, "You know what?" The people kept. It dawned on me. I said, first of all, I'm missing a whole lot of uh, ability to bless people, because like you said, I speak fast, and sometimes you can't always retain, right? And if they keep asking for something, and I'm supposed to be the problem solver and a solution provider, when they say, "Do you have a book?" I should say, "Yes, here it is. Would you like an autographed copy, or would you like 1, 3, or 5 copies?" Like, So I had a guy the other day bought 10 copies. Right? Anyway, so the book "How to Build a Big Team Fast" is me teaching the principles, 7 main principles of how I went to top of 7 different companies. And while I was writing the book, I was building the team. I think at that time I had like 800,000 people on that team. But I finished the book, and then afterwards it ended up being 1.5 million in that team. So I was like, maybe I need to write a sequel to the book. But anyway, but it's just, again, very simple, practical principles, about 100 pages, easy to read. That will empower people. And again, the book is available on drbreakthrough.com. And I always tell people, I don't technically sell books. I make books available to people that are interested in getting another breakthrough. So my book will keep you from being average, or being average will keep you from my book. Oh,
Mm,
oh, okay.
mhm.
I apologize.
Right?
Right. No,
So
but for those who want it though, because sometimes, sometimes we like to be able to read stuff, and I like to be able to refer back to things, right? And
right,
so anyway, that's where they can get it. And I'll order now. You can get it on Amazon, but if you go to drbreakthrough.com, I'll actually personally autograph it to you on drbreakthrough.com. And again, that's available
drbreakthrough.com.
for folks.
Love
Yeah.
it.
And by the way,
So
Benjamin Franklin said, if you empty your wallet into your mind, he said, your mind will fill your wallet. Dr. Breakthrough says, what you put in your head that affects your heart determines what comes to your hand. If you want more coming to your hand, you got to put more in your head that affects your heart. And that's the power of personal development and personal growth, right?
absolutely. So, my gosh, thank you so, so much for your
Oh,
time. This
thank
is
you.
absolutely amazing. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I know every single person watching this and listening to this will have gotten so much out of it. So, guys, go to drbreakthrough.com, grab a copy of that book, and
Now,
thank you so
tell them,
much.
if you put in the comment section that you heard me on this station, we're going to have the office send you an extra gift. Okay, if in the comment section you got to mark about, and then we're going to do something special for you, because Gloria is a champion. And thank you for having me on your show. I just love. I think we vibe. Your energy and my energy. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And but again, folks, I'd love to speak for your group, preaching your church, whatever. Feel free to contact me. And I want to give people one more lesson, and that is a assignment. So I need you to write this number down: 717-275-3508. By the way, you see, somebody said note takers are money makers, but Dr. Breakthrough says, but action takers are bigger money makers. You see Gloria taking notes. So again, the number is 717-275-3508. Here's your homework. Call that number, and that's my 24/7 breakthrough line. That's actually my cell number. Now, I won't pick up, it'll go right to my voicemail, but I've recorded a powerful voicemail, Gloria. This happens usually once every 2 weeks at least, without exaggeration, that, if I'm available, I pick up the phone and they'll say, "Oh, Dr. Breakthrough. Oh, no, please hang up. I got a friend on the line that's so discouraged." I said, if you just listen to this man's voicemail, it'll make the rest of your day. So we're going to call back. Please don't answer. We just want to listen to your voicemail. Well, a couple of weeks ago, a guy said, "Hey," he texted me, said, "I'm about to call your number 3 times in a row. Don't answer. I'm just trying to write down all that stuff." It's like, man, that is some of the most impactful, empowering stuff. So your assignment is to call that number and just listen. Just listen to it. And I promise you, it'll make your day and help you feel a little better, my friend, and give you some concrete things to hold on to. And again, it's been a privilege and a pleasure, a treat and a treasure, a joy beyond measure, being with Gloria. Come on now.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. And take care. Go to drbreakthrough.com and phone 717-275-3508. Do it right now. Thanks tons. Take care.
God bless. Thank you.